Okay, next up we have Wrkr, ASX code, Wrkr, trading under the ASX code WRK, and they have a market capitalization of 40 million. Wrkr is a regulatory technology business helping Australian employers to simplify workforce compliance from hire to retire. Presenting for the company today, we have their CEO, Trent Lund. Trent, welcome, and please take it away.
Great. Thanks very much for having me, Paul. Delighted to be presenting to you, and similarly to the last presentation, hidden gems. Great opportunity just to share and shed some light on areas which are not commonly understood in the market, but represent great opportunity. If we can just jump through to the next slide. I think the stats here are well understood for everyone. We're a 42-person business. We are very much in the SaaS software space and heavily regulated parts of the market. But let me move through this quickly, and I'll leave that for your reading. Thanks, Nick. So, quick facts. Business since our merge and re-establishment of the brand, we've been growing at around about 40% per annum. We're 9.5 million in revenues. 5.2 million of that is ARR, so true SaaS software as a service licenses. Our average revenue per user across our direct customers is around $8 per annum. We have about 500,000, little over 500,000 direct customers right now. We touch 2.9 million Australians. However, our core product offerings that we now bring to the market, we no longer provide license services. It is purely a SaaS-based business. So let me talk you through the growth and what really excites me as the CEO of that business, if we can just jump ahead. Probably the first thing for everyone to understand is what is the problem that we solve, and really for employers, and this is worldwide, but the context of Australia is what we focus on right now. There are two main areas that are problematic for any employer, which is in the process of hiring an employee and then paying an employee. Now, really specifically, there is lots of software available in the market that helps guide through the hiring of an employee, from HRM systems and the likes. Equally, with paying an employee, payroll systems and the likes, or direct accounting. However, there are some unique elements that have to be done by third parties. And so that is really where Wrkr participates. So if I just run through a couple of those as an example, but on the onboarding of a brand new employee, while identity is an obligation, checking someone's work rights are an obligation, the TFN check for tax, the tax declaration, and specifically rules which come with fairly complex fines and reputational damage around enabling superannuation choice, or the proposition or the proposal of a default fund, as well as bank details and other licenses. Wrkr plays in that space. Our business is built off the back of superannuation, which I'll share a little bit of in a moment. However, what's unique is we provide that entire list of services, and they require some fairly substantive licenses and integrations, which tend to create a fairly strong moat around the business. Such as, in particular, we are an ATO digital service provider at Tier 1, which means we integrate directly to the ATO for TFN checks, for super processing. We're a GNGB gateway, of which there are only 9 in the country, also a clearinghouse for the processing of super. So on that pay side, anyone can cut a check and pay an employee. Many of you are probably employers of one form or another. However, the larger you are, the more complex this becomes, all the way through to paying disbursements. But very specifically, and this is where the strongest moat is around our business, is the processing of super contributions. That processing and the messaging through to the ATO can only be done, as I mentioned, by 9 gateway companies, of which we are one and underpin another with our software, and also our financial services license for non-cash payments. So these two particular areas go hand in hand. They share the same data, the same licenses, and Wrkr is currently the only provider in the market providing that entire end-to-end service, from hiring an employee and selecting their super through to paying that super. So we jump through to the next. So who has the problem? Well, the reality is most companies, although you can procure fantastic software that we partner with internationally, there are always holes because they're not built specifically for the Australian market, but where they are built for the Australian market, these are still last mile compliance obligations that require these special licenses. So really our clients are a broad range, but most importantly, the super funds. Wrkr focuses predominantly on the industry super funds, which I'll talk through in a moment, who process these super contributions for all of their employer clients, as well as SMSF service providers. Wrkr provides the electronic service addresses and other components for that contribution processing, down through the HRM systems, payroll providers, but more specifically, direct to employers as well. So our market, we have numerous touch points in that value chain, from the super funds themselves through to payroll operators and HRM, all the way through to direct employees, of which we currently, that is who we serve for our current 500,000 direct employees. So if we jump to the next slide, if that's all right. So Wrkr specifically, what's unique about us, other than obviously a large moat from the complexity of the licenses, but when we originally built the software, we always envisaged that individual consumers will need to participate. There are many regulations, from PII data, consumer data rights, that really make it important to put the data and the uploading of information directly in an employee's hand, and then specifically to do that in the employer's brand, regardless of who the buyer is. So even when we deal with super funds, we're able to provide the end product in the employer's brand with direct access to employees, with the full security to allow them to make their super choice, upload their information to that employer, and then all of that information follows through into the ability to pay them. So if we jump ahead, and really we present that in a one-stop shop to our employers. What makes that unique is it allows a single console for them to look at their entire compliance, and actually for us as an organisation gives us an enormous opportunity for upsell, cross-sell beyond our current $8 ARPU. So where we talk about an $8 ARPU, that's really for doing the contributions processing within super and some of the base moments of pay, but the amounts go considerably larger, obviously, when we move into other compliance moments that we cover, such as visa checks, so right to work for foreign workers and what obligations they have, through to APRA medical checks, for an example, for every health worker that has to be checked actually on a daily basis. So if we jump across to the next slide, and I just take some time to explain why I'm so passionate about the business and excited about the precipice that we're at right now, is Wrkr has spent the last 2 years heavily working with what was formerly known as the Link Group, who are the provider of administration services underpinning some of Australia's largest superannuation funds. Now that since their acquisition, MUFG Retirement Solutions is their now current name, Wrkr has developed a white label solution of our full compliance offering as an industry build. So co-invested between Wrkr and MUFG, we've fully integrated our compliance tooling to MUFG's administration platform, to all of their customer care and management processes that they provide today to Australia's largest funds. We're currently in pilot full go live for one of those large funds, Rest, in fact. So as an opportunity to really black box the solution and perfect any of the elements in preparation to roll it out at the request of any of the other super funds. And just to give you an example, MUFG today supports brands like Rest, Aussie Super, Host Super, Cbus Super, and several other large super funds, actually circa 9 million members. So as you can see, why we're excited and why we've invested so heavily in this approach, with our current ARPU at around $8 per direct SaaS user, with the ability to upsell on that. When you start to multiply that by a member base that reaches circa around 6.5 to 7 million active contributors, that really is the opening up of our business. So if we just jump into a last couple of slides, because I'm conscious of time and hopefully I've given you enough to see questions, but Wrkr is already winning in the market. Our software is well trusted in the system. We underpin brands such as Beam, owned by Australian Retirement Trust. We have live pilots inside Rest, well advanced in negotiations with other super funds. But today, we touch 2.9 million Australians with our software, 70,000 employers, 600,000 advisors, 600 advisors, financial advisors, and of course, really starting to grow now into the payroll and HRM side. So if we just jump another slide, and I'll wrap these last two. Look, we're really excited. The market itself in Australia is incredibly large. It has a great moat around it once you're in, because you need scale and you need a substantive list of licenses. Where we sit today, particularly with the collaboration with MUFG, we see an incredible growth ahead of us. That growth has already opened up ahead of schedule, where we are currently in implementation phase in Hong Kong for HSBC through MUFG, which is again exciting. And as we build out that pensions element of the product, that will take our core platform to be relevant in UK and and Canada and other markets. So just a final slide. If we jump ahead, look, really the trade wins are what I'm excited about. I'll leave you to read the key points. There's one key point over in the top right, which just to share. The government in Australia, as you will all know, doesn't shrink compliance requirements for businesses. They seem to go up and up and up. I see the nodding there from Paul. And as a compliance software provider, apologies to all of you out there, but that excites me. That means our business has great longevity. In particular, payday super reforms scheduled to come in 2026. If I just give you an example, our income today is substantially generated by processing each super contribution payment. By law, you only have to make those payments quarterly. In July of 2026, those payments must be done at the same time as payroll. Most of the clients that we serve and are currently onboarding are lower paid people in Australia who are paid either weekly or fortnightly. That means those payments could go up as high as from 4 times a year to 52 times a year. So we are expecting a between doubling and tripling of our revenue without any additional cost and effort to our business other than continuing to provide our software. So that is really Wrkr. That's why we're excited. We're on the start of a great growth trajectory. Thanks, Paul.
Thank you, Trent. Yeah, really fascinating business, and plenty of questions that have arisen from that presentation. First one is, how does the pipeline for new growth look in superannuation?
Yeah, look, fantastic for us. It's a tough market traditionally to sell to, because superannuation, they don't move and there's not a lot of change. There's 2 big changes that have come. We're only 24 months out from payday super, and most existing infrastructure, we're half the price of of our competitors, with the exception of one. So if you look at that tripling and scaling, you really need to act now. So we're seeing the funds very active, which is good for us. We're cautious, though, in that never put all your eggs in one basket. So we're also connecting directly with the large American software providers such as Workday and soon to follow organisations like Oracle and SAP to go direct, just to keep our constant growth going. Yeah.
And one here, how important is your relationship with KPMG, and what opportunities will this deliver going forward?
Yeah, so the KPMG one, I didn't, was sort of squeezed on some of our time, so I didn't jump to that. But look, it's a great relationship. We really, they're a professional organisation with a great customer base. Our partnership, we took our software and built it in with their processes for Workday, which has introduced us to Workday and to a range of their customers. They have, 10 very large projects live right now that require our software, which is exciting. But more importantly, Workday have about 140. So organisations like KPMG, I think it's a great partnership because their due diligence onto us gives confidence to the buyer market, and they're professional.
And a question here, with MUFG super fund customers, who do they use now for the processes WRK services? What does WRK and MUFG plan to do to win over the incumbent, if any?
Yeah. So they use a combination of an internal platform that we're replacing at MUFG, which is good for a portion of it. The second half, they use Westpac. Westpac, in fact, the lady who created the 1,000-pound gorilla in the market at Westpac, Emma Dobson, is our current chair. We lured her across to us after she retired because of her insight and relationships, but we have not seen them. They are supporting and servicing their clients, but not competing, and have not really provided the feature richness that we see the funds asking for. So that's opened the door well and truly for us at this stage, but always be watchful of the gorilla, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. And the question here, how is the Link Group build progressing, and how important to growth will this be?
Yeah, this will underpin our growth. It's progressing really well. A couple of unique things. We're a very modern software company, so we do some things in our service and support. Had to explain the way our software works for our 500,000 direct users. We have the lowest service cost ratio in the industry. And so translating that across gives just a whole new set of dimensions for MUFG. So they are very excited. I know Rest are very excited. It's progressing very well. The positive is the industry funds, and why we're excited is they also agree that sharing something that's common that mutually benefits all is actually good for the total super industry. They're not trying to compete in areas which don't benefit from competition. So they're actually willing to collaborate and work off that same industry base. So, but it will underpin. If I look at our growth, that sector is worth to us around 5 to 6 million direct contributing members, and at that ARPU, that's game changing, and that's the core group that are in our target radar.
Actually, a question for myself: how important is ongoing innovation for the company's market position?
Yeah, it's important. We've had a track record of bringing new innovations to the market. In particular, we focus around this onboarding and broad compliance. The reality is, in the first phase, employers, they really want help getting their super done. But the truth is, what they don't want are 30 suppliers helping them with all manner of compliance. They do want the one-stop shop. And to be able to do that, you need to continually innovate the compliance moments, the breadth and depth of them. But we think actually into the future, it becomes far more the digital citizen today, the youthful market. they are very hands-on. And they want to see their data, they want to participate with it. And so having built off the mobile base, we actually think that's where the greatest innovations will start to be required.
And just to finish up here, I'll have to read this out. Obviously, you've got a fan that's on the live audience today, and then just say, happy to recommend Wrkr for self-managed super and ESAs, and Kirsty is fantastic. So a big shout out for Kirsty.
Hey, fantastic. She is without doubt a superstar. But yeah, that SMSF product, I mean, a great example sitting inside our in that core SaaS offering. Appreciate the nod.
All right, Trent, many thanks for your time today. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on, and you have a great weekend.
Likewise, same to you all and your followers. Thank you.